How you doing, Jay? So you know, whenever you want to take a break, just say, and then you can come back when you want to. Okay?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm ready whenever you are. I got.
Okay.
Start with right.
Yeah, yeah.
Scoot that over a little bit. The
computer?
iPad. No.
The iPad?
Yeah, like over that way. A little more.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So
Hey,
you can
okay.
kind of see us. There you go. Bam. Now you can stand in front of me. You can see us now.
Okay. You come stand.
Oh yeah, I'm on you. I got
Okay.
you. I got your back.
Okay.
I got your back. James got your front. I got your back.
All right.
Yeah, okay, so I was trying to remember. Okay, we're like, one of the things we're interested in talking about is mixed race and blended families. Okay, so I was, we're not like related by blood. His wife's mom was married to my dad.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, so I was thinking, it's sort of like we talk about ships that pass in the night, and Katie and me were like ships that pass in the night in like Stepchildren and all of that, and we like hung on to each other.
Okay, I get it now. I get it.
So, the Civil War. Okay, I know more about, I am pretty knowledgeable about some stuff, but really like less so than it seems. I do not know much about the 19th century. I know a lot more about the 20th and 21st. So
You definitely do. Your knowledge of the 20th century blows my mind sometimes.
Thank you. I got some years on you, but also, there's just so much to learn, and that's just the biggest thing. And it's don't get me going on like people being like thirsty for knowledge. But okay, so the Civil War. You ready to go in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. So what do you think is important for people to know about the Civil War?
Oh, geez. There's so much. I think part of the reason I thought about this topic was because the Confederacy and, the alt-right has been in the news so much lately and affecting us in so many different ways with this way of thinking that's being resurrected. This is not a new way of thinking from the South.
Yeah.
They've always thought this way. It's just a matter of it skipped a couple generations because there were bigger problems in the world, and now that we're focused on America again and just America, now we're bringing up all those race issues and, should these statues be here, and do we celebrate this culture, or do we just recognize it existed, So I think that it's so important that people understand the meaning of what the Civil War was and what it meant, as opposed to necessarily the straight up military history, which is interesting only to some people, like nerds like me.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The overall point of the Civil War is so resounding. So I actually picked out when General Johnston was in Shiloh and they were going to attack General Grant's army at Pittsburgh Landing. This is what he wrote and was read to his soldiers before they went out to fight.
Can you backtrack a little bit for us? Who was the general and which battle was that?
Yeah. Okay, so General Johnston he was the highest ranking field officer in the Confederate Army at the time. He was to be surpassed obviously by Robert E. Lee later, and obviously Jefferson Davis was commander-in-chief, but he wasn't a field officer. And he also has the distinction as being the highest ranking officer to die in the Civil War. He was a major general.
Oh God, yeah. We gotta go way back. we gotta start at the beginning. I've watched about a half an hour of that, 13-hour docuseries. Yeah. So, and it's just so important to recognize that we all come from such different worlds, and one of the things I think is such a problem is the shaming for not knowing about things, and that just happens so much and in a big way, because one of the other things we talk about is films and
Right.
and popular culture and stuff, that because that's part of how we learn about those things. So
Hollywood definitely perverts the Civil War to the point of almost being historically inaccurate for the purposes of Hollywood entertainment.
yeah.
So there's very few Civil War movies that I would recommend. I would actually recommend documentaries. I mean,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That has an ounce of truth is Gettysburg.
Oh, yeah. I just mean like
60, 40.
I mean general, and I'm sorry, I should have. I mean general things, sort of. How do you put it? Like part of popular culture, or just things that people can connect with that aren't like iconic films of certain generations and stuff like the cultural touchstones. But so for the Civil War, I mean, what was the Civil War? How would you start off telling people?
Simple answers. I'm not good at those.
Oh, okay, because we need to start there, definitely. I mean, I keep saying I don't know that much about it. There was, so let's jump in here too. There was the Confederacy and the Union. Okay, so one of the things that took me a while to learn about with the Civil War and other things is the concept of states' rights and the federal government, because I grew up in Washington. That certainly wasn't part of anyone's like personal heritage, and so the idea was when the country was created, I guess, and then different states. They were colonies back then. I mean, how would you even describe? I mean, different communities, different groups of people wanted to be. Yeah.
I mean, so at that time, back in the 1840s, 1850s, right before the Civil War broke out, the states were more like, each state was more like its own sovereign nation.
Yeah.
And they looked at it that way. Each state kind of regarded themselves as their own nation. And even though they were a group of nations that made up one sovereign state, the federal government, they still resented any control by the federal government, and they wanted to act independently. Now, as far as directly in the Civil War states' rights go, too often we hear that the Civil War was about states' rights, and that is just, in my personal, I'm just going to be blunt with you, it's a load of BS. Slavery. And what are those states' rights for? The states' rights to own and operate and do their own slave business. That's what it was about. It wasn't about, you can hear a lot of these, Confederate apologists and lost cause theorists come out and tell you, well, it had nothing to do with slavery and everything to do with being against the federal government. But if you research a bunch, every time you keep coming back to what was the conflict. The conflict was about slavery. So,
Right.
a lot of people don't realize that, and they, especially in the South, they hear the argument in the lost cause theory, and they want to buy into it because they want to believe that their culture didn't do anything wrong, and they fought the war for the right reasons. They didn't. They fought the war to oppress and keep slavery going. And this nation, as well as the rest of the world, needed to start moving away from an agricultural economy and start moving into more, as technology advanced. And the South was being slowly left behind. And so the North was really trying to bring the South into the current world. Because they were stuck in a world from, 200, 300 years ago. And slavery itself was almost dying out right after the American independence and the Revolution. But the problem was there was this guy named
Mm-hmm.
And once that hit the
Okay, so,
market,
yeah, and that's...
40 slaves,
Mhm.
10 hours to do a pound of cotton. They could do it in 10 minutes, and that's how basically cotton became king.
Wow.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Eli Whitney, he changed the entire world with his invention.
Yeah, that's amazing.
This tiny little box that was about this big, and I mean, they made it bigger eventually, but the first one was about this big, and he made it in his basement, and changed the freaking world with one stupid little invention.
So what, did he have his own cotton farm? Who was he?
You know, I don't believe that he did. I'm not quite sure. I haven't done a lot of research on Eli Whitney or anything, just because he's not directly involved with the Civil War period.
Right.
But his invention, basically, in some ways, I've heard arguments that caused the Civil War.
So, yeah, okay, well, so the Civil War was just a huge it was a huge tragedy. That's the thing. So what can you tell us about, how did going to war work back then? Was there a draft?
No, this was still during a time period before drafts were ever, actually, the first draft ever was the draft by the Union and the Confederacy during the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
At the beginning of the war, Abraham Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers when PGT Beauregard was ordered to attack Fort, in Charleston. I can't think of it right now. I'm having a brain fart. But when he attacked the fort in Charleston, Abraham Lincoln asked for 75,000 volunteers to serve a 90-day period. Everybody seemed to think in the beginning that the Civil War would be a 2 to 3 month war, because nobody at that point had lived through a war that had lasted very long. There had not been a war that was 3-4 years long in a long time. The last war that the United States was in was the Mexican War, and that was really a pushover.
What was the Mexican War? What was the Mexican War? Wait. What was the Mexican War?
The Mexican War was it was basically our fight with Mexico over the Texas territory.
Oh man.
And we had said in an agreement, like a contract like we did with the natives or whatever, a treaty, that part of Texas was to remain with Mexico.
Yeah.
And we basically got greedy. We saw the lands in Texas. We saw New Mexico. We saw Arizona. We even saw part of Nevada and Lower California. And we said, well, we want those too. Of course, Mexico said, screw off, piss off, you're not getting them. And we said,
And then
okay, we've got the bigger, stronger army with the more money. We're coming in, and we're going to take it from you.
Yeah.
They basically marched down to Mexico City and took over Mexico until they gave up. And the important thing that the Mexican War really has to do with the Civil War more than anything is the fact that I would venture to say that 3 out of every 4 officers that held the position of colonel or higher in either army served in the Mexican War. It was their, trial by fire or whatever, their first combat. So therefore, when the Civil War came, the people that are the officers who are high up and in charge were all people who had served during the Mexican War. So they all had warfare experience.
Wow. So one of the things that's so interesting to me and amazing when you look at history is just, okay, we're talking about events, but then there's just this real simple thing of like, wow, there was like no cars or planes or anything. So, one of the things...
And trains were new.
Yeah.
The idea of moving your troops from one area to another by train was this whole new concept. It was crazy.
And people...
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, it's okay. Chime on in. I was going back just a little further. I was thinking about people leaving their homes and, just not... if they lived, if they could just go... It would just be nothing not to see your relatives for a couple of years. It would just be...
Oh, yeah. And, the anybody who was anybody went off and did this. I mean, nobody wanted to be the guy who just stayed at home in the village and didn't go off and fight this war.
Well, they were, what were they called?
Who?
The people that didn't fight the war.
Oh, there really weren't much. I mean, they're non-combatants, I guess.
No, okay, well then...
I don't understand what you're saying. I don't think there's a term specifically in the Civil War.
Well, I'm trying to remember what the derogatory... I've heard too many derogatory terms today. Okay, there's carpetbagger. Okay.
That's true, that is one, but I don't think that applies to the Civil War.
Oh, no, it does. It's after the Civil War. That's where that term comes from. It refers to people from the North coming down to make money off of the spoils. But it's like a yellow feather or something like that. So yeah.
White feather.
Okay.
White feather.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a term that the British use for a coward.
Okay. That's like how, I mean, how old is it? How long ago? I mean, so that's not just a Civil War thing, that's a war thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much a war thing. Britain's been using that term for a couple hundred years, pretty much. Yeah. It's even referenced in a bunch of famous, like, British writings of different types.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Talk about the white feather. Or
the white feather. Yeah.
And I know this is kind of going to a different war altogether, but during World War I, women would come up and hand men that weren't wearing military suits during the war who were, back home in Britain. They would walk up to them and hand them a white feather.
So
shame them into signing up and fighting the war.
And then some of them were veterans. I mean, they just had no idea. I mean, some of them were veterans, or some of them had been in the war, were back with. Just
not only had been in the war, some of them were just home for leave.
Right.
Like literally, I'm just home for leave. Why are you shoving a white feather in my face? I just was in the trench 24 hours ago.
Because women were trying to get the vote, so they were showing nationalism and support for the war effort.
Yeah, there was nationalism is something that.
Well, okay, that's too complicated. Do you see what I mean? Just showing like pride or whatever, wanting to support the war effort in order to show themselves capable and work for the vote after the war. So that's why some women were so aggressive about that sort of thing, but there was also important women pacifists. But okay, so what were you saying before that? Oh, nationalism. Oh man, that's another word I've been heard.
It's radical back in the day. People nowadays don't understand about nationalism. I mean, nationalism used to mean everything. And it basically would put you on a social caste somewhere based on whether you were Italian, Irish, German,
That's what it means? Nationalism?
Yeah. When there was John C. Fremont is a famous general during the Civil War who fought for the North, and he was eventually shoved out west and kind of forgotten about because he was trying to basically run for president against Lincoln, and Lincoln wasn't going to have that, so he shipped him out west. But anyways, he was in Missouri during the Civil War, and what he would do, one of the things he would do is he would have aides of his in New York City and Boston, and when German immigrants would get off the boat, he would immediately recruit them to join the army so that they had a job, they had a place to stay.
Yeah.
And most of them didn't speak a lick of English yet.
And they weren't even citizens yet. Like, okay, we're gonna get off the boat and pick up a gun for the country.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
God.
And 90 to 95% of the soldiers that served under Fremont and under Banks, and Nathaniel B. Banks, I'm sorry, and in Missouri, which which was a serious hotbed during the Civil War because it was one of the border states, Missouri, Kentucky, Maryland, states that had continued slavery, but technically still decided to stay with the Union.
Mm-hmm.
So he just had huge numbers of German immigrants stepping right off the boat, going to Missouri and fighting in the war for him.
Wow.
So he was very valuable for a while until he kind of lost his mind. And, one of the things during the Civil War, as far as the political landscape goes, is that people were always trying to undercut each other and, talk bad about their superior to their other superior. It was constant, office politics. And it's really interesting. You can get pretty deep into it, but at the same time, if you just look at it summarized, you're like, yeah, that's a BS. How come everybody just can't get along? So, I don't know. There's even a point in the war where Grant basically was going to give up because he couldn't get any assignment that he wanted, and his boss, Alec, was basically spreading lies about him being a drunk, which were not true. And, so, we might not even be where we are today if that had gone through, because if Grant hadn't been restored to service and put back in the East to fight Lee, we might never have won the war.
Wow. So then what? Yeah.
Wow. Nation now, and we wouldn't be if the Confederacy had won.
So, why can't people get over it?
I just don't know. I swear to God, I just don't know. It's the one war where literally there's nobody living today that lived during this war.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it still invokes feelings in people that just, fist fights at tables sometimes between families.
Yeah.
Over something that happened 150 years ago,
Yeah.
And the South has so much stubborn pride, I guess. I don't know. They're not willing to admit they were wrong. I think that's the big issue. And it's not about winning or losing a war. It's about being right or wrong morally. And they don't ever want to admit that they were wrong morally, But the Civil War was not about, take this fact for example. Only 1 out of 5 Southerners who fought in the war, actually fought during the war, had ever even been in a position to own a slave in their entire life. So this is the perfect example in the South, actually, of what we go through nowadays, which is war is old men talking and young men dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these rich aristocrats from the South, they're basically saying, we're not going to lose our slaves, and I'm going to make all these people, in Mississippi and Alabama go off and fight for our rights. And so they perverted it into the same thing that we do with our military today, where we say that this, our friend Sally, who joined the Army, is over in Afghanistan fighting for my rights. Really? How did my rights get all the way over in Afghanistan? How is Joe Blow from, Coal Creek, Mississippi, who's been living in a dirt shack his entire life, can't even afford shoes, what does he care about slavery? So they had to make it about something else. And that's how you started getting the Southern pride. The Yankees are coming down here and invading us. There was a soldier who had a famous quote, and it's actually in the Ken Burns documentary, where they asked him, they said, why are you fighting? And he said, well, honestly, I didn't care until all the Yankees came down here and invaded my land. And it was really that simple to them. That's how simple-minded it was to them. This is our land. This is how we live. Don't come here and tell us how to live.
That's simple, but it's pretty important. It's important. Yeah, that's pretty. That kind of explains. If that's how people feel that strongly about something, maybe that's why they just can't let go of it. I get. Yeah.
Well, the South won't let go of it either, because they roll around with their statues. They name freaking schools after Jefferson Davis, and my Lord, Nathaniel Bedford Forrest was the original founder of the KKK. K after the war, okay? Do you know at this point, 1 year ago, I'm not sure now, but 1 year ago, there were 17 public schools in the South and various states who all have the name Nathaniel Bedford Forrest Elementary School.
Oh my God.
So if you don't let the culture die forcefully, then of course it's going to perpetuate itself from generation to generation.
Wow. Well, with most of the time with names, people don't know. I mean, it's just a name. People don't know who the person was. But then once they do,
no, they. True in the South. A lot of these people are raised to know who these people are. And
I mean, just in general. No more so, no more so than schools being. I mean, schools are named after different famous people, but with kids going to school and all that, it's not necessarily a personal thing. But whatever. That doesn't matter. I mean, that's not interesting. I mean, the fact that the idea, again, of like third graders caring about 150-year-old battles is.
Well, I don't think it's so much that they care, but I think that they care what their parents care about. Mm-hmm. And so as each generation goes down, and there's a long history of oral storytelling in the South that is something that we don't really do in the West or Washington or even us in the Northeast.
Washington is really, really bland.
Yeah, Washington's pretty bland. That's one of the reasons I like it. But, I mean, I don't know. I really wanted to read this little excerpt here about Johnston.
Okay.
Do you want me to explain what Johnston was again, or?
A general.
Yes.
Yeah.
General Johnston. He was the highest-ranking officer to die during the Civil War. He died in the first year of the war.
Yeah.
He was basically doing something he should have been doing, and he was a major general, meaning that he basically was in control of this entire army of the West, which was about 48,000 soldiers, which is not that many soldiers now. But back in 1861,
that was
48,000 soldiers was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So go for it. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, so this is what the Battle of Shiloh was the first major battle in the West. It happened in southwestern Tennessee, off of the Tennessee River. Okay, here's how we get to this point. Grant had invaded the South through Missouri, coming across the Mississippi, and had attacked Fort Henry and Fort Donelson. Okay, at Fort Donelson, he became famous and became known as Unconditional Surrender Grant, which was his, abbreviation, U.S. Grant. And because he had told Simon Buckner, who was the Confederate who was left in charge of Fort Donelson when the two highest-ranking officers fled so that they wouldn't become prisoners, he actually was roommates with Grant at West Point.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
20 years before. They were roommates.
Yeah.
And a funny story, but he had actually owed Buckner $200 that Buckner had loaned him, and he still ain't paid back yet.
That was a lot of money back then. That was a lot of money back then.
So Grant comes down off of Fort Donelson. He's waiting to attack Corinth, Mississippi. Okay? Corinth, Mississippi is what's referred to as the vertebrae of the Confederacy. Because it was the only rail line that reached from the Mississippi to the Atlantic Ocean. So basically the idea was if you can sever this rail junction line, which ran both north and south and east and west, but the east and west was the super important part for the Confederacy. They could not lose this, because it was going to split the Confederacy into two. So that was the idea when they marched down, and he stopped at Pittsburgh Landing because it was a good place where the steamboats, which were carrying the soldiers, could land the soldiers at Pittsburgh's Landing. And he was waiting for Don Carlos Buell's other army, which was another 40,000, give or take 1,000 or two, soldiers that was coming down from Ohio to meet him, and they were going to converge on Corinth together. Okay? Well, the South, unbeknownst to the North, the Confederacy came up from Corinth with 48,000 soldiers and attacked the North at Shiloh.
Okay.
Shiloh
Yeah.
because there was a church which was close to the battlefield where soldiers were camping on that was called Shiloh. And Shiloh, roughly, I understand, means a place of peace in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure. I don't speak Hebrew.
Yeah.
But that's everything I've ever read in any Civil War book has told me that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically what Johnston wrote on his note, and then they read to all of the soldiers before they went to fight in the Battle of Shiloh, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this explains a lot about what the South was thinking, their motivations for fighting, why the common soldier was fighting, and what they believed in, okay? He says, soldiers of the Army of the Mississippi, I have put you in motion to offer battle to the invaders of your country. With the resolution and discipline and valor becoming men fighting, as you are, for all worth living or dying for, you can but march to a decisive victory over the Agrigan mercenaries sent to subjugate you and to despoil you of your liberties, your property, and your honor. Remember the precious stake involved. Remember the dependence of your mothers, your wives, your sisters, and your children on the result. Remember the fair, broad, abounding land and the happy homes that will be desolated by your defeat. The eyes and hopes of 8 million people rest upon you. You are expected to show yourselves worthy of your lineage, worthy of the women of the South, whose noble devotion in this war has never been exceeded at any time. With such incentives to brave deeds, and with the trust that God is with us, your generals will lead you confidently to the combat, assured of success.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Wow.
So that 2-paragraph little speech there sums up so much on the propaganda and the way that they were presenting the war to the normal soldier.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, well with that, we're going to go into a break. So, play some music. Okay, cool. We'll check with you later then. Thank you. You want to say anything to the public? Okay. Talk to you in a bit. Bye.
Is there something you wanted to play?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Oh, wait. I don't have the little adapter thing.
Oh, you got a new one?
No, I just forgot the adapter. A minute. Oh, shit. Can't do it.
What? Can you find the song on YouTube?
Oh, wait a minute. What am I saying?
No.
What?
Oh, yeah, that's it. You
Okay.
got it.